Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of No Holds Barred here at the Toronto Sun. I'm Jan Murphy filling in for Rob Wong as the host. This is such a weird feeling. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome back the incomparable, the invaluable, the amazing Sami Zayn with WWE. Sami, welcome back to the show.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Jan. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's cut right to it today, Sammy. Before we talk about the Blue Jays, let's talk about Montreal. WWE is returning. Announced two more shows in your hometown coming up, January 23rd, January 24th. One of them is Saturday night's main event. It probably never gets old coming home, right?
No, you would think at some point the novelty wears off, but it really hasn't. It's been a decade where I've been performing for, at the Bell Center with WWE, and it was so special that first night, and somehow it's still just as special all these years later. And these are two really big shows. Not every market gets two back to back, like a television slash PLE, like a premium live event, like a Saturday night main event back to back. It's got to be a pretty good market from a ticket perspective, and B, just a great fan base, which Montreal is both, and Toronto is too. I'm not throwing shade here. Obviously, I'm a little partial to Montreal. I'm a little biased there, and that building has been unbelievably good to me. But historically, also, it's been like Montreal or what's happened in the Bell Center for me historically, and now that I've been doing it for 10 years in this building, um, it's given me kind of like and now I have enough data to look at and kind of go, oh, you know what? Every time I do a show there with that reception and that crowd, it kind of leads to a domino effect that kind of dictates my direction for the next few months, sometimes even years. So I'm super excited about it because these are really big shows, and they also come at a really, really exciting time of the year for WWE. It's a week before the Royal Rumble and a couple of months leading into WrestleMania. So I just hope I can deliver the goods and do something really prominent for that fan base, which has always been so great to me, and that's home.
When you come home, what's your routine a little bit when you know you get to come home to do a show, which is obviously less traveling, but also like, will you pass some bingo halls and some little places where you got your start when you're driving to these shows?
Well, look, I spend a fair bit of like I come to Montreal often enough to where and it'll always be home. It's one of those things. So, sometimes if I'm visiting and I'm here and I go to, some vegan cafe or something in the East End, and oh, you know what? I used to, there's just memories all over every part of this city for me. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's just exclusive to the times I'm in town for a show. It's just anytime I'm here, you just can't escape it.
I was at the show against Roman a couple of years ago, and I've been to some Raws in Montreal, and I try to get up to Montreal as often as I can because it is probably the greatest city in Canada, and I say that without bias. I think it's a
Yeah.
beautiful city. Best sports fans in the world, in my opinion, are out of Montreal. So pretty excited to see what Saturday night's main event might look like in terms of that ravenous crowd.
Same, same. Yeah, and I think Montreal also, because we're historically deprived of so much, Montreal, and I don't want to get into the history of Montreal here, but we were the premier city of Canada up until the 70s, right? And then I won't get into political issues here, but Toronto ended up taking over. And there's always been this thing, and I don't know if other Quebecers feel it, but I certainly have. Like, even as a child growing up, you'd see promotions or read magazines with like offers or coupons or whatever, and you'd always look at the fine print at the bottom, and it would always say excluding Quebec, right? Like this offer is valid for
That's right.
anywhere in North America excluding Quebec. And there's a number of reasons for that. Some of the language issues and different law that exists in Quebec that doesn't exist in the rest of North America. Again, we don't need to get into all of it, but I'm just trying to explain that there's this sort of I don't know if you want to call it a stigma or just a sense of an inferiority complex almost that comes despite knowing that you live in one of the greatest cities on earth, that you're somehow like all the bands go to Toronto and they just skip over and go back to the States. Like Montreal just kind of gets the shaft with a lot of little things, right? So for Montreal, when we get a WWE, just a television event, they're like, whoa, TV's coming. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. And not to get a TV and a premium live event like a Saturday night's main event, I think for Montrealers, it really feels like a big deal, and it feels like a reward for just years of being such a great fan base. You know, Toronto, and I'm not disparaging Toronto. I do love Toronto, and I was genuinely heartbroken to see the Jays bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, and still lose the World Series. I don't want to, pick at a healing scab here, but I have a lot of love for Toronto. Um, but Toronto gets everything, and Montreal doesn't get everything. So for Montreal to get two really big shows like this, I think the fans are really, really excited. And I think that's why they bring a different level of energy. And for me, like this is definitely circled. These two dates are circled on my calendar. This is going to be a big deal for me, and I want to go all out no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, you touched on the Jays. I couldn't help but, like I said, forget the dramatics aside. How they did not win that game with all the chances they had is beyond me. But something that sort of emerged out of that whole series for me was the Blue Jays players talking about to a man about playing for this country. And I think WWE wrestlers and talent can relate to that because when you come home, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Montreal, whether you're in Alberta, wherever you go, you kind of get that love. And I know I've heard Natty
Yeah.
talk about it and Kevin Owens talk about it. It's countrywide, right? Is that something you feel no matter where you go in Canada, right?
For sure. I actually think I have some kind of cheat code because I have like 15 hometowns. You know what I mean? Like if we go anywhere in Canada, I'm treated as like a hometown guy. Montreal obviously is a whole other level. Anyone who's followed my career or seen me perform in Montreal, I don't think there's any wrestler, and CM Punk in Chicago comes the closest that I could think of, but there's no wrestler that or no hometown that treats their hometown guy the way Montreal's treated me. It's just because Montrealers, maybe it is that kind of deprived thing that I'm talking about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we never really get, even with the Habs, it's like we've been a good team for so long, but we never had a superstar, and now all of a sudden we potentially have like five. But
No.
you know what I mean? There's this like deprived sense of pride that we don't really get to hang our hat on, which is why I think I'm so disproportionately loved in Montreal. But like you said, if I go to Toronto, if I go to Calgary, if I go to Winnipeg, if I go to anywhere in anywhere in Canada, I'm treated as a hometown guy. And then I also have the advantage of I'm also French speaking. So if we go anywhere in France, anywhere, any French speaking place in Belgium or Switzerland or whatever, or I'm also an Arab and Muslim. So if we go to Saudi Arabia or we go anywhere
Yeah.
in the Middle East, so it's like I have all these kind of, I don't know, all these places that treat me like they're guy. And even in other countries, like I'll pick two just at the top of my head, but for example, Ireland and Chile. Okay, I've been very vocal for years about how much I love these people and I love their countries. And they know when I say it that I'm not saying it in the token way that a performer goes like, "Thank you, Dublin. We love you." You know what I mean? It's like they know. They see me. I'm out on the streets. I'm in their cafes. I'm eating their restaurants. I'm visiting their museums. I love their countries. I love their culture. I love their people. And so even when we're in certain countries, I feel like an adopted hometown person of those countries. And Dublin has kind of become like that a little bit to me. Santiago, Chile is kind of like that for me. There's a few places that are like that. So I just feel very privileged to have the support of so many people that treat me almost like a hometown person, even when I'm not in my hometown of Montreal.
I don't want to keep you too long, but I can't help but think, listening to you right there, that the company, your bosses, the people who do the bookings, they look at you the same way the fans do. They can put you into any situation. You are, in my opinion, the most valuable person on that roster in that you're mostly always healthy. They can put you into any situation. They can put you into the main event where you've been. They can put you on Raw. They can put you on SmackDown. They can put you on NXT. They can use you in any given situation. Tag team, singles, you name it. Sammy will do it, and he'll do it at the highest level. What's next for you? What's left for you, I guess, is my last question. Sammy?
Well, somebody said this to me, and I feel like this is kind of where I'm at. I feel like I'm on the 99th floor, which is an extremely hard place to get to. And I just need to get to the 100th. You know what I mean? And I've already done so much more than I ever thought I would as a kid, as even when I signed my WWE contract. And then even after being in WWE for years, I've just accomplished so much more than I ever thought I would on so many different levels. And I've got so many great experiences. For me, this is all gravy at this point. But there still is something to like, getting on that 100th floor would be nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So for sure, like winning the world title is the elusive one. I would
that's the
not mind.
one.
I wouldn't mind winning that one. If I don't ever win it, that's okay because then I'm still in pretty good company. As you know, in my opinion, one of the better guys to ever have done this without winning the world title.
Absolutely.
If you look at my peers, who are all guys that let's say we're all on the same level, they've all won it, and I'm sort of like the one holdout. So, um, one way or the other, it's all good. I try not to look at it that way, and I try don't. I'm like weirdly a goal oriented person, but also not. You know, it's I'd like to be there, but it's the journey, not the destination. That old cliche, but I do believe strongly in that. Um, but I appreciate the kind words. And what you said is really what I've always worked for, to be honest, more than being like the world champion. I always just had an affinity for versatility. And I always believed, even like when I was, because I've always kind of seen myself as a craftsman because the guys that I looked up to were craftsmen when I was a kid. And the guys that I studied breaking into the business were craftsmen. And the old world journey of the craftsman was a journeyman and a somebody who had to cross the globe to hone their craft and learn the styles of all the different, all different parts of the world to become a complete pro. And that's what the independents did for me. I know how to work match one. I know how to work a main event in Tokyo, or I know how to work a comedy match right before intermission on an independent in Topeka. Like
Yeah.
that's what I go for. I want that versatility to be my calling card. So I really appreciate you seeing it that way and, very, very high praise. And I know, your stuff. So I appreciate that coming from you. But I think when it's all said and done, I hope that like, not that I'm a big legacy guy either, but that's what I want to be my calling card. It's not like, oh, that guy won the world title. It's like, man, that guy could do it all. He could do comedy, he could act, he could cut promos, he could work, he could have these killer 5-star main event matches, he could give you a consistently great match on television every single week. Like whatever it is, to me, that's really, I don't know. I don't know. That's it for me. That's what I care about. And that's what I love to do. And if you notice
Well,
it, I appreciate it. Hopefully other people notice it, but that's like, it's kind of nice to hear that because that really is what I go for. If I'm going for anything, that's it. More than winning the world title, more than being a Hall of Famer, more than that, it's a guy you can count on in any role, any night, and I'll give you the price of admission worth in whatever role I'm doing. So I guess that's what's next is to just keep being able to do that for as long as possible because I'm also aware that I'm probably closer to the end than the beginning now after 23 years in the game. So I just want to keep doing it at the highest level while I can. That's all.
well, I say all the time to people who watch it with me, I say, you find me a bad Sami Zayn match, and that'll be a first. So,
Mm,
thank you for doing this. Thank you
thank you,
for
buddy.
the decades of entertainment, and hope to see you in Montreal.